a hub is just a repeater that goes in many directions. You could call it multi-directional. Or you could call it multi-port. That would be the same thing. But it's just a repeater that goes all those ways. Okay, so here's the way it would work. You've got one node, you're sitting at one computer, okay, and there's a hub in the middle of a star network. Okay, so you're connected to it, this computer's connected to it, this computer's connected to it, this computer's connected to it. Okay, you send a message. You want to get to say you want to talk to 4, for instance. Okay, and this is you. You send your message to the hub, and what the hub will do, excuse me, sneezes the don't come. Anyway, what the hub will do is it will read the signal that you sent, it will interpret it and try and guess what you're actually saying, and then it will resend it, but it won't just resend it along the next step in the chain. It will actually resend it to everyone. Okay, so it's kind of like a loudspeaker, like when, if, for instance, picture this as me, okay, and for instance, suppose I was a bit of a delinquent parent, okay, and I lost my daughter at the shops, okay. Now what would I do? I don't know where she is, okay. Maybe she's in this shop, maybe she's in that one, who knows, okay. So what do? I go to center management, okay, and I say, very sheepishly, so I've kind of lost my daughter, right? And what would they do? What would they do? Have you ever heard this kind of thing, right? You hear everyone sort of minding their own business with their shopping and calls, and then over the loudspeaker, the hub, okay, you hear an announcement that says, would, so-and-so please, your parent has lost you and is waiting at, center management, that kind of thing. And all the rest of the people are like, what kind of a dad is that? But they ignore the message because they see it's not intended for them. And the person, hopefully, who it's intended for will realize, okay, this message was sent out to everyone, but it's for me. Okay, so they read it, they interpret it, and then they respond accordingly. Okay, so this is what a hub is like. A hub is like a loudspeaker, right, in real life. But in terms of network infrastructure, the thing it's closest to is a repeater. It's just a repeater that goes in lots of directions, hence multi-directional. Okay. Okay, now, sorry. The next one was a switch. A switch. Now, we were talking about switches before, but we were talking about switches in reference to the telephone network, and it had a thing called a switchboard. Do you remember what that meant? What was that referring to? What is a switchboard? What's the job of a switchboard? That's right. Okay, so it's a similar kind of scenario to this, right? You've got one central guy or woman, okay, who picks up and it's like operator, and then says, who do you want to connect to? Okay, and they'll switch the connections in whichever direction that you need. Okay, so it's a little bit like this person can change, rail tracks to send your data in the right direction. Okay, so what does a switch add? A switch is like a hub with control over its direction. Okay, that's a switch.